How we doing, gang? It's good to see everybody. A couple of updates first. Unfortunately, we got some very bad news yesterday. Devin Combs, upon an examination of the knee that he injured in the Florida State game, we got an MRI yesterday. He's got a torn ACL. He's got meniscus damage. He will undergo a surgery here in the very near future, and he is out for the year. And if I could take a moment just to talk about that kid's toughness, because he played a couple series on that knee with a blown out ACL and a meniscus. And I don't know if anybody in this room's ever had that before, but it ain't fun. I told him at halftime when we realized that he wasn't going to be able to play how proud of him I was, and what a fantastic job I thought he did leading our offense in the first half of that game against obviously a great opponent. I certainly know his teammates appreciated the toughness that he showed going out and playing. I didn't go back and do the math, but certainly a couple series on a bad knee. And I think they'll have a greater appreciation for just how tough he is now that they understand what exactly it was. I mean, at the time, we thought it was a sprained knee. And we've obviously now come to find out that he actually tore his ACL. So that's difficult for us. Obviously, when you have a backup quarterback that has played in games and won games and played well in games, it's not an ideal situation. But it is what it is, and publicly, we just want to say that, we're thinking about the kid, and obviously have an incredible appreciation for just how tough he is. Cody Fajardo's day-to-day. We expect him to practice some today. I'm not going to go through this every day this week about where is he at now. Our hope is that he can play, but there is no guarantee that he can play. We're going to try to practice a little bit early this week, and we're just going to see how it goes. We won't put him in the team situations today. It'll be Pascal, individual, some other things, and just see how it goes. But I don't want to go through this every day this week. Where's he at now? Our hope is that he can play. If he can't, then it'll be Tyler Stewart, and that's the way we'll have to go. And that's fine. Kendall Brock, Don Jackson, I know we're getting tired of hearing it, but they are day-to-day. Kendall Brock is getting closer, though. He's had I don't want to call it a procedure. He had the knee drained. They took a lot of fluid out of there, and we feel like that has been a big step in terms of getting him back healthy. It made a significant difference just overnight in how he feels. Don Jackson's just dealing with an ankle, and when you're a skill guy and it's an ankle, sometimes it just takes time. Zach Brickell's out for another week with an illness, and this has been as weird a year as I've ever been around in all my years of football. We've had 3 cases of pneumonia, we've had tonsillitis, and we've had a stomach bug that ravaged the locker room, and we're still feeling the remnants of that. Unfortunately, Zach's going to be another week. And Connor Talbot is not ruled out of the game yet, but I would call it questionable. And that's kind of where it's at there. So that's kind of our health update. And, I don't know if anything's going to change dramatically in the next 24 or 48 hours. It's going to be probably closer towards the end of the week before we have a clearer picture about where we're at. We're changing our mindset now as we head into conference play. I told the team in the locker room down in Tallahassee, Florida, that after we spoke about what occurred in the Florida State game, that, all right, we're going to review it, we're going to be honest about it, we're going to be brutally honest about it, and then we're going to bury it. And we're now 0-0 as we head into Mountain West Conference play. I've said that a couple times. I don't want people to think that I'm under the impression that we are going to walk through Mountain West Conference play. I don't feel that way at all. I understand how difficult our conference is. In fact, I was laughing with Doug Newth after the game in Florida. As I looked at Florida State's schedule, if you looked at it today, you'd see Florida, Clemson, and Miami on there. And I think at towards the end of the year, those might be their only 3 ranked opponents. And then you look at ours and you see UCLA, Florida State, and if things keep going the way they're going, Fresno and Boise will both be ranked by the time we get them, possibly. So when you look at it and say, boy, they've got 3, we've got 4, that speaks to the quality of play in our conference, that you could play 2 ranked teams at a conference and then end up with 2 more in your conference. So by no stretch of the imagination are we taking the Mountain West Conference lightly, and we're really now beginning a series of 8 or 9, it's going to be 9 one-week seasons. I mean, we're really focused on trying to be 1-0 this week. That's our only focus, trying to be 1-0. We're excited to be back home. Excuse me. I'm fighting a bug as well. We're excited to be back home. Excited for our fans to play in front of our own fans again. Excited to play in front of our student body. Looking forward to the whiteout, hoping that our fans will buy into that and have some fun with it. I know our guys will have some fun with it. So it's good. It's after a long trip like we just took. It's I'm glad that we're not backing it up with another road trip, another away game. We're excited to be back home and get back into the rhythm of a normal schedule. Hawaii is going to present us some challenges. The first one, they're coming off of a bye week, so they're getting guys back healthy. They had some really good football players that have been dinged up and out. They're starting to get them back. Obviously, 2 weeks to prepare for us. I have a great deal of respect for Coach Chow. As I studied their offensive tape yesterday, I was having flashbacks to my days at Notre Dame watching the USC offense. And just, it's creative, it's sound, they do some really good things. Obviously not the same personnel, but, that goes without saying. But they've done he does a really nice job in terms of just the schematics of their offense. Thankfully for us, there should be some crossover here. It's conceptually, they'll do some of the things that Florida State did. So there should be some carryover for us defensively. Offensively, I think they got some really good players. Taylor Graham, the quarterback, transfer from Ohio State, has arm talent, is a good player. And from week 1 to week 2, you saw significant growth in terms of understanding the offense and making better decisions. He turned the ball over a couple times in the USC game, and you did not see that. He took better care of the ball, made better decisions, more decisive decisions against Oregon State, and I have no reason to believe that he won't continue to improve against us. They have a really interesting guy, number 29, Scott Harding, is from Queensland. I hope I got that right. But he's a former Australian rules football player and is really a pretty dynamic athlete. And he doesn't have any fear about who he's playing. It doesn't bother him one bit. And interestingly enough, as active and as athletic as he is at wide receiver, being an Aussie rules football player, he will go in there on the punt team half the time and be the punter because he can kick with both feet. So he'll go out and Aussie rules punt in both directions. Kind of the rugby style punt in both directions, and he becomes a big threat as a guy to just pull it down and run with it because he's a very gifted athlete. And they're getting a kid by the name of Stutzman back, from what I understand, who's been a productive wide receiver for them. So I understand they might get one of their big tailbacks back. So they're getting some of their weapons back healthy, and it's certainly going to present some challenges for us. Defensively, I think their interior defensive line sticks out on film. They're big, not necessarily tall, but thick, strong, play really hard. Not necessarily the most gifted athletic group, but they make up for it with effort and with physicality. They're a rough, tough group. So our 2 guards and our center are going to have their work cut out for them. I saw much more pressure from the Hawaii defense in the Oregon State game than I did in the USC game. They're going to play a lot of man coverage. That's been their MO here for the last couple of weeks, and frankly, we're going to have to beat man coverage. We're going to have to win some battles on the perimeter, at the wide out, and frankly at the tight end position too. There are going to be times when they're going to pressure us, and we're going to have to say, okay, we're going to throw it up, and our guy's going to go make a play. So that'll be the challenge for us this week in terms of their defense. Their special teams, it's a pretty unique situation right now. It's the first time in 17 years of doing this professionally I've ever seen it. But the Mountain West suspended Hawaii's special teams coach for this game for unsportsmanlike conduct at the Oregon State game. So they're going to be coming here without their special teams coordinator, which, depending on how teams run it, some places that might not be a big deal. Other places, I can speak to my experiences at Notre Dame and Texas A&M and at Stanford. When I was the special teams coordinator, I was running the show. There weren't a lot of other guys involved in it. So, how will the loss of that coach affect them? Will it affect their game planning? On special teams themselves, they are a high-risk, high-reward group. I mean, they've run multiple fakes dating back to last year. That's something we're going to have to be on high alert for. Their punt team can come out in any one of 6 different formations in one game with 2 different punters. They're sound, but they also do some things that are going to give you some issues. So it'll be. I'm curious to that's going to be one of the unknowns going into the game. Are they going to be as complex as they normally are because he's not here? They've got 2 weeks to get ready. Maybe that factors into it too. But it's something that we'll be paying attention to early in the football game. So that's kind of Hawaii in a nutshell, and our injury update. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Coach, how comfortable are you? How
I trust Tyler. I'm not panicked about it. I think he's got arm talent. He can throw the ball. He's just young, and Devin had game experience. I mean, look, are you asking me, is our 3 better than our 2? No. If he was, he'd have been the 2. Now, there are reasons for that. And, part of it was decision-making and, making decisive, being decisive in the pocket and getting used to the speed of the game. And Tyler showed at Florida State that he improved. Now, he made one really bad decision with the interception. We've got a guy running buck naked open in the flat, but that's going to happen with young quarterbacks. I mean, the trick is, can we learn from it? If he has to play, I feel comfortable with it. I don't think we're going to have to cut the package down very much because he's a very intelligent young man. It's not like we're going to have to be worried about what we can call and what we can't call. He's a capable runner in the zone read game. So if he has to play, I'm fine. And what we told the team is, listen, guys, at the end of the year, I mean, you guys aren't gonna write the stories in November and say, hey, well, just keep in mind they were down 6 or 7 guys against Hawaii and whoever else. I mean, nobody cares. I mean, I care. I care that we're banged up. I care about it a lot, but nobody else cares. I mean, we can't use it as an excuse. Next man up. That's what football players do. Next man up. So that's what we have to do. If Tyler has to play, he's the next guy up. We'll give him the ready play. We'll have confidence in him, and we'll go play. That's fluid. That's fluid. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't want to burn his red shirt, but we might have to. And I'm hoping not to, but that is a fluid situation the way it is right now. So we'll see what happens.
Coach, is there a certain percentage of snaps that Cody has to take in practice this week for you to have him start on Saturday?
No, I'm not a big. I don't put hard, fast rules on that stuff. I think it's kind of silly. He'll prove to us whether or not he's physically ready to go, and if he is, he's got to take some team reps by the end of the week, and I will have a baseball bat out there with me, and any scout teamer that gets even within 3 yards of him might, take a Louisville Slugger to the backside. But I mean, he's got to take some team reps. But and we're in a situation where I really can't predict it. We're really going day by day. He was, and I tell you what, I give a ton of credit to our doctors, Dr. Scott and her staff, and our trainers, Ben Anguish, who's brand new, who's been here like 2 weeks. Ben arrives, and within 2 days of his arrival, our starting quarterback gets nicked up. And Ben has done an unbelievable job. I mean, the guy doesn't even have a home yet. He's sleeping in my basement, and he's dealing with all this stuff right now, and he's doing a fantastic job. So, you know, we're taking it day by day, going off of his feedback about how he feels, and I think a lot of it has to do with too, can he protect himself? We will not put him out there if he's not healthy enough to protect himself. So.
Do you know when Combs' injury occurred?
Yes, I know exactly when it occurred. It occurred on, I can't tell you exactly on the time clock where it occurred, but it was a zone read in the first, I believe in the first quarter, where he kept it, and he planted his foot and the safety hit him at the same time, and he kind of went down awkwardly. I would venture to say, I don't hold me to this. You can go back and look at the tape. I believe he played the whole second quarter with a torn ACL, and he led us on the touchdown drive, and like we said before, you know, should have been 14 points. We dropped the ball on him. I mean, the guy led us to 14 points should have led us to 14 points at FSU on one knee, which just speaks to his toughness. And I tell you what, this is a great lesson. I said this yesterday at the quarterback luncheon. You wouldn't look at Devin Combs and say, boy, he's got the best arm I've ever seen. You certainly wouldn't look at him run and say, boy, that's one of the great athletes I've ever been around. But there's a lot to be said for mental and physical toughness, high intelligence, and high character. Those guys find a way, and that epitomizes Devin Combs.
All these injuries that you've had, I mean, do you attribute that to the schedule, playing teams like Florida State, UCLA, or has it just been bad luck?
It's been both, to be very honest with you. It's been both. Excuse me. We have had some bad luck. I mean, how do I prevent pneumonia when it's 95 degrees in August? I mean, I don't know what to do about that. Tonsillitis. You know, I would not have called our training camp overly crazy physical. It was physical enough to prepare us to play with what we thought. Some of it's frankly just been bad luck. Now, I mean, look, when you play people like like UCLA and Florida State, there's always a concern that, yeah, I understand why we play the games, and I understand that the money that we get to play those big non-conference games is incredibly important to our department. I understand all of that, but are you physically capable to get into your? Are you physically, healthy enough to get into your conference play? Then, do you spend the first 3 weeks of conference play trying to get back healthy? I mean, that's the question that we have to ask ourselves moving forward. It was just one of those deals. I mean, that was a really fast safety that came up and hit the quarterback. I mean, I don't know if you ask me in my heart, I think it's a combination of both. Could I prove it? I don't know if I can.
So just to be clear, do you expect Fajardo to be a game day decision?
It will be game day before I tell you guys. Yes. We will probably know by Wednesday or Thursday. But I'm not, we're just going to handle it the way we handle it. So.
How does this affect kind of your scout team situation? Are you going to move Mays down to the offensive side? Or?
It's a great question. We're going to shuttle him back and forth. We're going to shuttle him back and forth and get him some reps. And to be honest with you, the other thing that we're going to do, and this speaks to part of Chris's question, is we are very banged up right now. We have scout team players that you guys wouldn't recognize the names that are hurt. We're having a difficult time right now putting 5 scout offensive linemen out there. So we are going to have to change the way that we practice a little bit and go to an NFL model where, we service each other for more periods. Where, it's going to be a 10-minute period. We're going to run 16 plays, 8 of which will be for the offense, and our number 2 defense will be out there working off cards, and then we'll switch. And we did that a lot at Stanford. So that was a big thing with Jim Harbaugh. He believed in speed of the look, as the quality of the look compared to running 28 plays against the scouts. Could we get 14 really good ones against our 1 and 2 deep defense? And that's the NFL model. So because they don't have 105 guys in the NFL, they got 53 to practice with. So that's not completely foreign to us. But frankly, in today's practice, there's going to be less scout work and more good on good just because of the nature of our injury situation right now.
What do you think you've learned, through the first quarter of the season about your team?
I'm not sure I could answer that yet. I've learned more about specific individuals. I mean, I saw guys playing their tails off at the end of that Florida State game. I mean, when the score is out of hand, leaving their feet, diving in the pool, trying to make plays. I think that we've gotten progressively tougher. I know that we have more leadership from within the football team than existed when we got here. I know that the players are working very hard to try and take more ownership of the football team, and that's been a positive. But in terms of learning about who we really are compared to the people in our own conference, I'm not sure I can answer that question yet, because Davis is not going to look like a Mountain West Conference team, and certainly UCLA and Florida State don't look like Mountain West Conference teams. So while I've learned bits and pieces in terms of, where are we at right now compared to the rest of our league, I think we're going to start to find that out here over the next 2 and 3 weeks.
When you look at the offense, I think against UCLA and Florida State, you guys are trying to milk the clock a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you want to play during the Mountain West season, or do you want to play with more tempo and you just sit in those 2 games out of necessity?
I think we look at every specific game and say, what do we need to do in order to give ourselves the best chance to succeed? And in those specific cases, playing fast was not going to be to our benefit. I think moving forward, there are games that we want to play significantly faster than we did. There are games that we want to snap the ball 85 times. The trick is the ability for us to, as an offense, say, okay, guys, we're playing fast this week. I mean, we went into the Florida State game saying we're huddling. We're not trying to run 85 plays because we wanted to slow the tempo of the game down and try and keep our defense off the field and try to win the battle of time possession, which, frankly, in the first half, I think we did. I mean, we just missed some opportunities and let them go down the field late in the second half. Short of that, in the first half, we did everything we had hoped to do. It just got away from us. But going back to your question, we will in conference we will play at a higher tempo. There might be a game or two in conference that we decide that that's not in our best interest, but we got to have the flexibility as a staff and as players to make that decision and play at the tempo that we think gives us the best chance.
In those 2 games, UCLA and Florida State, you were in it until half, and then beginning of the second half, it just kind of falls apart. Do you like how your team has handled adversity and fought through moments?
Mm-hmm. I didn't like it in the UCLA game, to be quite frank with you. I thought, and the score doesn't reflect that, and I understand that. I understand the score does. People don't want to hear, hey, I thought we were better in the Florida State game, because you look at the score and you say, how could you say that? We had our third quarterback in. And had a really hard time generating any kind of first downs, and now you've got your defense out there they can't get off the field in the second half. Now, that's partly us, too, defensively. But I saw more guys with the right look in their eye at the second half of the Florida State game. I think guys understood it. And I think, frankly, Sunday, when we had our meeting and we were very truthful about what we saw in the film, very truthful, both positively and negatively, very truthful. I think that they handled it like a mature football team does as opposed to an immature football team. I don't know 4 weeks ago if we could have handled the meeting that we had on Sunday, which is, hey, look, that's what we put on tape. That's not good enough. You've got to get it fixed. And if you don't get it fixed, we're going to find somebody else. And I think from the head coach on down, we were all able to say, you know what? There were about 6 things I could have done differently and done better, and I'm going to work to get them fixed. So,
what can what Devin did Saturday do for this team from just from mental makeup?
I would hope that guys would be able to look at that and say, boy, I got something nagging me. Look what that guy did. I mean, it's an example. It's just, if you can't follow that lead, if you can't see the value in what that guy we talk about, are you really bought in? Do you really love football? everybody likes football when we're winning. Everybody likes to wear the sweats and be on the Wolfpack walk and high five everybody. But do you really love football? And if we need an example to point at and say, you want to see a guy who really loves football? That guy really loves football. I mean, he's out there competing his tail off with a blown-out knee. You know.
Have you ever seen that before? Seen a guy play with an ACL?
I never personally have seen Phillip Rivers try to do it, a bunch of years ago, and he had a really hard time doing it. I mean, it's just – and I don't want anybody to think that our doctors missed anything. When he did it, he didn't stay down. He got up. And by the time he gets up, now all the muscles in his legs start firing, and they essentially lock up to protect the knee, so that when you put the kid under a physical exam and you work to test the knee's tight. Well, it was tight because every muscle in his leg was locked up trying to protect the knee. But without an MRI, we can't tell that. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that I'm criticizing our medical staff off of examination. Without the luxury of an MRI, we thought he was okay. So, but it was incredible. It was incredible to see him compete the way he did. And again, I'm heartbroken for the young man. It's not fair, but life's not fair, unfortunately.
You said it's been difficult to know where your team is given who you played. Can you say the same thing about Hawaii?
Somebody asked me that yesterday. Hawaii has played some really good opponents. 2 Pac-12s. Somebody said, boy, Hawaii's had a schedule just like you. No, it's been similar. It's not been just the last time I checked. Oregon State was not ranked in the top 10. And USC is not USC. I think that the Washington State game proved that. Now, is it high quality, really good opponents? Yes. Is it a top 10 team in the country? It's not, because if they were, they'd be ranked in the top 10. They're not. I really think that the UCLA and Florida State teams are going to be right there for BCS games at the end of the year. If they're not in them, they'll be very close to them. So it's not apples to apples, but it's not like they've played, 2 Big Sky teams either. They've played really good opponents, and I think the thing that really struck me watching the 2 games, they were not intimidated by USC one bit. They didn't win the game, and there are reasons for that, but they were not intimidated by USC one bit. They were flying around. They were trying to be physical. I mean, I was impressed with their resolve in the USC game. No, he did not. He did not. In fact, he only got hit maybe 1 or 2 times in the third quarter, and there was no further damage. The damage that had been done to the knee was done already. And it's thankfully it wasn't real serious. It was just too difficult, to come back from in 6-7 days.
Last week was a conference game. Who do you play?
We would have debated it. I'll be honest with you. I was going to err if there was a 50-50 chance, right? I would have erred on the side of sitting him down for that game, because what is to be gained by putting your starting quarterback out there on a bad leg against that defense? It was just and frankly, I mean, I thought we protected pretty well. I'm not sure we gave up a sack. We didn't throw it a ton, clearly. But I thought we protected pretty well. But if there was a choice to be made, which there was not, we were told it was no. If there was a choice to be made, I probably would have erred on the side of keep him out until we reach conference play. Probably Wednesday. We were hopeful up until then.
So this was a medical decision last week?
Yes.
But it's your decision this week?
Yes. Well, no. Let me. No, the doctors have not cleared him to play yet. If they clear him to play, then we'll have he and I and Rollo and probably Coach Hoffer will probably all sit down and talk about it and make sure that we're all on the same page. I will say this: Cody has been fantastic in terms of attacking his rehab and mentally he's in a good place. I mean, he wants to play. Whether or not we get to that point, time will tell.
Where's Chris Solomon been now?
Chris Solomon is the starting tailback. Chris Solomon's the starting tailback. If Kendall Brock and Don Jackson get back, great for us, great for them, but Chris Solomon's earned the right to be the starting tailback. That old adage about you can't lose your job to injury, I don't believe in that. I believe in Wally Pipp. You know, the other guy got a chance. He took advantage of it. God bless him. More power to him. He deserves to play. Now, he's going to have to practice the way he practiced last week, which was really good. And I'm very excited to see how he attacks it this week after he's had a little bit of success. But that may have been that's the most positive thing that we can take out of the Florida State game, is that the guy who started in August as your fifth-string tailback went for 100 yards against a top 10 in the country team on the road. More power to him.
One more for Coach. Coach, is the attitude of the team right now still accomplish everything you set up to accomplish? Go to a bowl game.
We're not talking big picture, and that's something that I try very hard not to allow, because when you think about the big picture, you lose focus on in the moment, you know, being in the moment right now. And we're going to have a team meeting in 25 minutes, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is our goal is to be 1-0 this week, and that's all we're focused on. I will say this for our team coming off of the result of that game, playing across the country, making that really long trip back home. I was very, very pleased with their demeanor when they came into the building yesterday. I was very pleased with how the majority of the team took coaching. And yesterday's Sunday evening practice, I thought our coaching staff was fantastic. They were energetic and enthusiastic, and I thought our team was fantastic. They were bouncing around. So I'm excited to get out. I don't know if anybody in Reno, Nevada is more excited to go to football practice today than I am. I want to get this taste of that Tallahassee trip out of our mouths. I want to get going on conference play. I'm excited about our plan. I'm excited about our practice schedule. I'm excited to experience what 40-mile-per-hour winds feel like. You know, it's starting to feel like fall around here. It's starting to feel like football season. You know, in terms of the weather, you know, it's in the air now. Let's go. I'm excited to get out there. And I get the sense. I tell you what, the other thing I was thrilled about, I bet you we saw 50 players in our building yesterday. It's Players' Day off, coming in on their own just to start watching tape. And that, to me, is a great sign. That's a great sign that they're trying to get ready to play the next one. So, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great week.
It was pretty amazing, to be honest. There's high energy. The fans were crazy. It was an interesting environment, but overall, I feel like we embraced it, and I really enjoyed it.
What do you know about Devin's injury now? What can that do for this team?
What do you mean?
Just the fact that he stayed in there and played with a torn ACL.
I mean, it shows his character, what kind of guy he is, and I feel like that was truly amazing that he was able to do that. And you know, it really sucks that that the outcome of the injury was a torn ACL, and that we might lose him for the year and stuff. But overall, I mean, it truly just showed me what kind of guy he is, and having him as my teammate, I feel more confident.
Did he address the team at halftime or after the game at all?
No, he didn't.
And their quarterback Taylor Graham obviously got off to a rough start against USC. What have you seen in him on film so far?
First of all, he's a big guy, moves well in the pocket, reads his keys very well, and when you're chasing him down and stuff like that, he can move a little bit, so you got to be aware of that.
When you see transfer from Ohio State, does that make you go, okay, this guy's obviously got some skills?
I mean, I don't really go off of that. It's what you put on tape is what I'm gonna watch.
What do you think you learned about your defense in the first quarter of the season?
basically we have all the potential in the world. You know, we've come out 2 times against, you know, the top team in the nation, and we've performed in the beginning. And then we just haven't been able to keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the game, and I feel like that's our biggest problem. But it's there. It's just how are we going to keep it flowing, and that's something that we're going to work on this week.
Is that a depth issue with the second half, or do you guys just come out a little less focused? What do you think that's been a result of?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I could be mentality, could be depth, could just be, you know, maybe we're out of shape. Maybe guys are intimidated at the fact that, you know, we're playing UCLA or Florida State. It's just, I mean, we're just going to see how it works out in conference play.
Do you feel like you guys are more prepared for conference play, you know, having played UCLA and Florida State, even though, you know, those teams didn't go very well in the second half?
Yeah, I feel like we are. I mean, we're looking at this as, you know, we're 0-0 right now, and this is our time to shine, our time to kind of make our mark, and kind of starting the year over right now. Preseason was preseason. Things happen. There's nothing we can change about that except grow and learn as an entire team from that.
Do you find yourself having to do a little more practice?
Yeah, a little bit, you know. Just trying to keep everyone healthy and give everyone the best look that you can. I mean, like Coach Polian said, it's kind of more of an NFL-type look. You know, we have our ones going against our ones, simulating the other team's offense and defense and going against that. But I enjoy the look. You know, it's great to go against Joel every day. He's a great guy.
Would you say the running game from last year, just with Stephon Jefferson, now you look at a redshirt freshman taking the starting spot, how much confidence do you have in the run game now?
Do you know what? I have all the confidence in the world in Chris Solomon. The dude can ball. He comes out there and he leads with his head, and he's not going to stop. I mean, I feel like he's like the true definition of a Nevada back. You know, he's tough, he runs hard, and, you know, he makes plays.
When you look at Graham again, obviously, you know, a big kind of post-out quarterback, do you prefer to face a guy like that or a Chucky Keaton? You know, what kind of quarterback do you like to go after as a defensive end?
I mean, I like the true quarterback. You know, when he runs around too much, it makes things a little difficult. But, you know, I like him. It's going to be a good challenge because, yeah, he's a bigger guy. But, you know, bigger guys, a little harder to take down, and they have better vision over the field. But I think it's going to be good. But, yeah, I definitely like playing against the bigger guys. The smaller ones are a little harder to chase down.
Do you think the defensive scheme or package would change at all now after the 3 games you played against the opponents you played one in the week one?
I honestly don't think it will. I feel like we just need to fine-tune the things that we need to work on. And I feel like, you know, especially this last week, as a defensive line, we had a great week of practice. And I feel like that showed in the game. And it's getting the rest of the defense and, you know, working on us and really bringing all that energy and enthusiasm throughout the whole week and learning how to carry it in the game. And that's going to be our big key.
With the whiteout, that as players, when you look up and see everyone dressed in the same color, tacking out, do you guys see about that? Do you notice that? Anything special about that?
I mean, yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, we haven't necessarily done anything like that before, so it's different. And you know what? It brings energy. And that's the thing that we need to keep, you know, going throughout these games, is if we just play like we have nothing to lose and we have high energy all the time, we will be successful. And I think little things like that, like a whiteout, you know, bringing the community together, getting the fans involved, I really think it helps.
You guys went to Hawaii last year, kind of threw them out at your way, but if you think that is going to affect their intensity coming in here, kind of a bit more focused against.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to come in here ready to play. No one likes to lose that bad. I mean, obviously we've had our fair share this year, and the only thing that you can do after that is just try and get that taste out of your mouth, and you got to come into this next game, like I said, with nothing to lose, and I feel like that's how they're going to come play us this week.
What was it like to see a mullet on SportsCenter?
It was interesting. It was cool. It was something I never really expected, but yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
about Taylor Graham, their quarterback. What have you seen on film from him so far? What do you think he does well, maybe not so well?
He makes he reads the field very well. He completes like a lot of short passes, little quick passes. He's a bigger guy, so he can see over that big offensive line. But I mean, he's all right mobile, and he has a pretty good arm.
Do you like facing those bigger guys, or do you like trying to chase down the smaller guys?
Quarterback's a quarterback. I like him a little slower, so it's easier for me, but I don't mind.
And then doing something for one of the Hawaii papers on Brock. Just your general impressions of his personality and what he brings to this team from that standpoint.
Brock?
Yeah.
Brock is actually sitting back there listening to Brock. Brock is a little smarter than I thought he was. He has a lot of good things to say. That shocked me right there. But I feel like the mullet is bringing a little energy to him, which brings more energy to the team. And I feel like Brock's a positive guy, and he's good for our team.
Do you think what Devin went through, staying in the game with a torn ACL, can that do anything for the psyche of this team?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes you not really worry about the little things like, oh, my knee's bothering me. Well, this guy was out there playing with a torn ACL. You can't cry about your knee anymore. My ankle's hurt. Like little things like that, you kind of appreciate what guys like that do for you, and it kind of changes the team's mentality to know that he was out there playing with a torn ACL. It's mind blowing.
He obviously is not going to take another snap this year, but can he still be a leader on this team?
Yeah, Dev's a locker room guy. He's a funny guy. He's quiet. He comes in and gets the job done, and he's a respectable, likable guy.
You've got to look at this as the start of a new season going conference play.
Yeah, because no matter what happens in the preseason, if you win your conference, all of that's forgotten. We'll be Mountain West champions, and we'll still be champions. So it's definitely a new start. Preseason is preseason. We got what we got from that, and now it's time for our quest for the Mountain West championship.
How do you explain against this tough team how the Irish preparing for going conference?
I think no stage is too big for us now after going to Florida State and playing in the Rose Bowl. I think those teams had great athletes and big offensive linemen, and now we won't see anything that we haven't already seen.
Defense gets kind of physically worn out against Florida State by the fourth quarter. Sense that kind of gas a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's more of a pride thing. You can't have 2-3 guys out there with pride. You got to have 11 if you want people to stop scoring on you. And some things that you have to start in practice, and you have to get guys to start to believe. And once you get 11 guys, 22 guys to believe, like there's pride in football, and you don't want the score to get blown up, then you won't see things like that. So it's just little things that you got to work on, and as a leader, you gotta get your troops around you to have the same mentality as you.
Have you seen much film on Hawaii? Their offense and what they might bring to it 19 to 7?
Yeah, it's a pro style offense, similar to Florida State. Not the same athletes, not the same offensive line, but the concepts are pretty similar.
Lenny, are you 100%? Are you feeling 100?
Yes. Yes, I'm feeling great, and especially, if you're going to go out there, you got to feel like you're 100%. Even if you're not, you have to mentally tell yourself that you are. And if you're going to step on the field, you got to give it your all. So whenever I'm on the field, I'm 100.
How nice was it to get that first sack of the season?
Actually, that was my second one. They gave me one at UCLA. Yeah, for running a quarterback out of bounds. But the first real sack, that felt good, especially on a stage like that. And to quiet that crowd, that felt really good.
What did the whiteout game mean? Anything different than normal games? Lead off it at all?
Whiteout game, that's actually pretty cool. with the white helmets now. To see, it's kind of like a crowd. I feel like it's more for the crowd than the players to see, like to look up and to see like the white towel spinning and everybody in white. It's more like the fans feel like they're more of a part of it. I think it's cool. I like it.
With so many injuries on the offensive side, do you think the defense has to step up a little bit more in this defense?
Definitely. Defense has to shut teams down, and eventually defense is going to have to start scoring some points. And when we take the field, that's our goal, to get a turnover and score some points and help the offense out. And we have to, with the injuries that we have on offense.
Does your mentality change going to the practice and anything that would be more now with all the injuries?
No, you kind of go out there and how do I say this? You kind of feel like even with everybody, if you have all your starters on offense, you kind of still feel as a defense that it's your job to get turnovers and score points. So just with them couple injuries, you feel like a little bit more of a weight on your shoulder to do it. But, I mean, you don't go out there any different than any other day.
Anything else for Lenny? All right.
All righty. Thank you.